Good morning.
Good morning.
This is the time of year when we celebrate new life, often coming out of the ashes of the old. It is a time for resurrection. Our ancestors had many such stories, too many to list them all. But my personal favorite is the story of the phoenix. Now, the phoenix is a very large and beautiful bird with magical feathers of red and gold. And the phoenix is very special because there's only one of them. In all the world, only one phoenix. Mother Nature loved her phoenix, and the phoenix loved her back. The phoenix was strong and beautiful and graceful, and they loved spending time together, just enjoyed being together. Sometimes the phoenix would bend down and invite Mother Nature to crawl on its back, and then it would fly up above the clouds to see the beautiful, beautiful world she had created. And sometimes she would wave her hand and the bush would bring forth beautiful berries, and the phoenix and Mother Nature would have a wonderful picnic together. Oh yes, Mother Nature loved her phoenix, the only one of its kind. And the phoenix loved her. And for years they enjoyed one another's company. But as time went on, the phoenix grew old. And a phoenix only lasts for 1,000 years. And it was beginning to be time for the phoenix to die. In order to do it properly, it began to build a nest of twigs and burnable things. And it would make a nest where it could find its final rest. But certain humans of the earth were greedy, and they knew about the feathers, the beautiful feathers of red and gold, and they wanted those feathers for themselves. And they figured that they could get them now because the phoenix was growing old and they would have more of a chance. But Mother Nature wanted to protect the phoenix. And she knew that although some humans are greedy, many are not. So she devised a magic spell in the form of a game. What she did was she talked to the mice and the rabbits and the squirrels, and she gave them eggs. Beautiful, beautiful colored eggs, and sometimes eggs that had designs on them. And she asked the mice and the rabbits and the squirrels to hide the eggs. And then the children of men were invited to go and find these beautiful eggs. And every time they found an egg, the joy of that would go and join with the joy of the others who had found their eggs. And together that joy would form a panoply of love and protection around the phoenix as it was building its nest. And the children loved the game, and they laughed when they found the eggs, and their joy created such a beautiful, beautiful panoply that the phoenix was protected, and it finished building its eggs, its nest. And then it went into the nest, and it started to hum. And as it hummed, a fire started. And the fire took hold, and it went into the nest, and it finally burst everything into flame, and the phoenix died. And Mother Nature sat crying at the loss of her friend. But then the ashes moved, and then they moved again. And out of the ashes came a new bird, a new phoenix, and it stretched its wings, a little hesitantly at first, but then it got stronger and stronger until finally it took off into the air, and Mother Nature rejoiced at the new phoenix. And to celebrate every year, Mother Nature asks the rabbits and the squirrels and the mice to hide eggs for children to find. And we call that the Easter egg hunt. So be it. You may be seated. When I was a child, I would look forward to a particular day every single spring. It only happens once a year, and it's usually, although not always, on a Sunday. Sadly, not today. I was hoping. It is a day when all at once, all the dandelions in the world burst forth. And you look at lawns and they are yellow from end to end, and it's marvelous. They're yellow and sunny and cheerful and covering the ground. Oh, I know. Some of you who tend to lawns right now are shuddering in horror. Because dandelions are a weed, and people spend a lot of time and trouble trying to get rid of them. But I would remind you that a weed is merely a plant that is growing where someone else doesn't want it to be. Dandelions are beautiful, my favorite flower by far. And they're magical because at first they're this beautiful yellow sunny face, so happy to greet the world.
Okay.
And then they retreat. They seem to die. But then they are resurrected again, and they are changed into a delicate white puffball. And you can blow on them, and they will take off. They are the true harbingers of spring. When they appear, there's no going back. The snow and cold of winter is gone, and spring is real. Sometimes we are like dandelions. Even though we are beautiful, we may feel unwanted. We may feel as if we're in the way. We may not even see our own beauty. Or we may feel that we're only beautiful when we're yellow, and we ignore the beauty when we become white with age. We would be mistaken to discount that. Just because others do not see the beauty, it is still there. Your beauty is real. So at the risk of offending some of you, I do look forward to Dandelion Sunday. It's my favorite time of year. beautiful. Thank you, Ian. Well, happy Easter, y'all. When I first realized that my sermon would be on Easter this month, I was relieved, because now there's a theme. You have to understand, the hardest part for me of giving sermons is to find something that I have something to say about. But Easter, oh, there's so much to work with there. To begin with, Easter is spring. This, to me, is the true beginning of the new year. I do not understand why the first day of the new year is in the dead of winter. Nothing's going on then. But now, everything's coming to life. Spring is when everything starts again. The daffodils are coming up, the lilac bushes sprouting, robins are making an appearance, and everything's coming to life. And yes, even my beloved dandelions are coming forth. Sunshiny days are warm and welcoming, inviting play and enjoyment. Gray days invite us to contemplation and thoughtfulness. And the rainy days, oh, it's washing the world clean and bringing forth new life. I love it all. But Easter is also Easter egg hunts for children. Chocolate bunnies waiting to be munched on. New clothes, spiffing things up. It's a time for families to gather, often around sumptuous meals. The timing of Easter is problematic. Some idiot came up with the idea that Easter should be on the first Sunday after the first full moon after the spring equinox. Technically, I believe it is usually on the first Sunday after the 14th day of the Paschal moon, after the first day of spring, which means it could be held any time within a whole month. Personally, I think Easter should be tacked on to Passover somehow, because it makes sense historically to do so. But nobody asked me, so we'll go with what we have. Easter has an older meaning too. It reaches back in time to distant ancestors and many different beliefs. It is a celebration of new things, of new life, coming out of the old. It is a time of resurrection. Resurrection is not a new idea, nor does it belong to just one religious faith. Osiris, the great god of Egypt, his story was told and retold for well over 3,000 years. Osiris and his beloved wife Isis were in this world bringing forth good things when his jealous brother Set killed Osiris and cut him up into 10,000 pieces. But Isis loved him, so she gathered all the pieces together and healed him. And he came back to life and became the king in the land of the dead, ruling over all of us justly. Persephone and Demeter are another type of resurrection story. Persephone was kidnapped and taken into the land of Hades, but her mother Demeter prayed and prayed and asked the gods to give her daughter back, and they relented. And so Persephone had her own resurrection from Hades and comes back for 6 months every year to the joy of Demeter. You could even make a case for Prometheus as being a type of resurrection story. He was punished for giving human beings the gift of fire, and he was condemned. But Hercules had pity on him and set him free, and Prometheus came forth to continue to be a friend to humankind. I count that as a form of resurrection. In ancient times, the children of Israel had a rough go. And sometimes they were slaves and captives. They thought they were lost, but they too were brought back again and again from Egypt, from Babylon, and the Persian Empire. And I've already shared with you my favorite resurrection story, the phoenix. Resurrection, an old idea, coming back from the deep well of despair. Resurrection can take more than one form. Traditionally, most of us think of it as coming back from the dead, but it's really not limited to that. It can be when one comes back from a dreaded, dark place in your life. I believe it's possible to come back, to rebuild oneself, to evolve in something new, yet not forgetting what's important from the past. A phoenix rising from our own ashes. Most, if not all of us here, have spent time in the well of despair. You know what I'm talking about. It often has to do with the death of a cherished dream or a beloved person gone, or the end of feeling safe and secure. I've been there, and you have too. It's scary, and sometimes it seems as if there's no way out. It can be caused by a natural disaster or ill health. It can be human-generated or something that just happens. And those times are hard. But I believe that resurrections happen all the time. Big ones and small ones. Human life is made up of such things. Some call them opportunities for growth. Others just call them trouble. Fear is usually a part of things. Fear that we will not survive or that things will never be the same. And we're usually right about that. Things are almost never again the same. Sometimes that turns out to be okay, and sometimes not. Truthfully, most of us have had many resurrections, both large and small. Some of us are at this very moment in a deep, dark place in our lives, hoping for a resurrection. Others of us are enjoying the light. It cycles. And those of us who are now in the light will again know the shadow. And those of us that are in the well of despair, the light is calling to you. We can never fully avoid the bad times. I think the trick may be to somehow learn to stretch out the good times and not take the bad times personally. But I'm not sure how to do that always. Maybe the Stoic philosophy might help, maybe not. I don't know. Yeah, this is the place in the sermon where I'm supposed to give you the magic words, the answer that will make it all better and make your pain go away. Don't hold your breath. I can't. I have no such magic words. I know pain, and I know you know pain. I have seen much worse pain than my own in others, and I marvel at what some have survived. I know of many resurrections, people who have come back from difficult times. Sometimes it is utter hell. Sometimes it's hard times. And sometimes it's just coming back from a difficult place. And it is seldom done alone. Sometimes it takes a community to survive. I know of several Unitarian Universalist churches who have gone through hard times and lost a minister. And in every case, the congregation was worried over what would happen. How would they make it without a minister? And every single one of those congregations has pulled it together. Volunteers step up. Sunday services were given, often quite good ones. Children were taken care of. Ministry to members continued. Pledges were promised. And most of those congregations even continued social justice work. And the church survived until the right minister was found. Yes, I think our specific congregation is going through a resurrection right now. Last week we heard a wonderful sermon from a fellow UU minister, Reverend Phil Ludd. If you have not heard it, I recommend that you listen to it. You can find it in the chirp. There is a link to it. I found it inspiring. He talked at length about how some UU congregations are reinventing themselves, as I believe we are. And I admit, I don't like all the changes. Personally, I still prefer the principles, and I could do without JetPig very easily. But that is part of what makes this congregation wonderful, because it doesn't matter that I prefer the principles and you may prefer JetPig. The values still remain, and that is the magic of what we have to offer. Our values matter, and we try very hard to express them to the best of our abilities. Reverend Lind also preached about how some congregations were revisioning who they are in line with the current generational wants and needs. Amen, brother. He talked about some of the things that some congregations are doing, like having regular time for role-playing games. Dungeons and Dragons, here we come. Oh, I love it. Such a community builder. We're doing that. And so many other things. We have marvelous music concerts here with gifted artists. We have board game nights. We had a come in your jammas for breakfast party. Who does that? We had bad movie nights, complete with cartoon and cereal. I loved it. Genius. Pure genius. To the traditional understanding of what church is, this all may seem a little off-kilter. But no, it's meeting the needs of the congregation. It is resurrecting ourselves to what we need now. Let's face it, a major issue in society right now is isolation. No, not solitude, isolation. And that is often crippling. Human beings are not meant to live alone. We need community. All the activities that I mentioned, and many more, are building community. And it does not matter, not with a single one of these activities, how much money you make, what your politics are, whether or not you believe in God, or even whether or not you attend the church services. It builds community. And what this church offers, the fundamental value of Unitarian Universalism, what we offer, in my not too humble opinion, is this. We need not think alike to love alike. It's okay to have wildly different understandings of how the universe works. What matters is how do we treat one another? And how do we treat ourselves? We offer one possible role model of how community might be created without a crippling conformity of thought. That is what we Unitarian Universalists offer. We offer it to the world and to future generations. The ability to care about each other, even if we have different views of the world, even if we worship differently, we still share our values. And by changing how we do things, we make this moment and this movement relevant for future generations, thus passing on to those folks the right to think their own thoughts, to figure out their own paths while sharing the values. It is possible to live in peace together. As I said, I think this congregation is in the process of resurrecting itself. Resurrection is a time of work, often very hard work, but it is meaningful and frankly joyous. It is a time of new growth, but it's also a time of evaluation of what we have learned and deciding when and how we want to go on. In our personal lives, our resurrections are often accomplished with trusted people who walk with us. And sometimes it is done alone. As a congregation, what we're going through now, well, it requires trust in each other. It requires forbearance and sometimes forgiveness. It often means not taking things personally, but giving the other person lots of room for doubt. And it also does require us to be aware of things we still need to work on. And I would like to point out something that I think we could improve on. I think that as a congregation, we need to learn to celebrate and appreciate one another and all the work that gets done here. We should celebrate all the opportunities that we have to be together, to rejoice in what we have here, and to get to know one another. We have so many gifts. We have so many opportunities to be authentic with each other. And frankly, we have so many good people here. We are blessed indeed. I mentioned that as a congregation we need to celebrate, and we do. But as individuals, when we come through hard times, when we conquer a fear or climb a proverbial mountain, we need to celebrate that as well, to give ourselves a break. We can do it privately or with others, but we need to give ourselves credit for what we've accomplished, just as we need to realistically evaluate what we still need to work on. So here we are in the season of resurrection. We watch our gardens grow. We hear the children playing. We notice the signs of growth and change all around us. And we sometimes pause to remember the lessons of the past. But most of all, we gear up to do the work that we were born for, to grow into who we really are, nurturing the best in ourselves and in each other. And that never ends, all along the way. So be it. I would remind you that we do have a talk back after the service. Please get your coffee and snacks and join us in the conference room after the service to add your 2 cents to the conversation. I talked today about resurrection because we are all changing, reinventing ourselves, resurrecting who we are, every one of us. And it's not always by choice. I don't know that I've said anything profound here today. Certainly I have told you nothing that you did not already know. I almost never do. It is my job to just remind you of what you already know. Each of us has wisdom inside. I truly believe that. You have the creativity to face your own life, your own dark times, and come through with newfound gifts and strengths. And your resurrections, that's plural because we each have many resurrections. Your resurrections will be unique, as are you. You will find your path. Hopefully you will find loving hands along the way. Hopefully you will be a loving hand to others along their way, because you have so much within you. Sometimes a resurrection is an opportunity to find new gifts within yourself new ways to express your vision of what it means to be human. May we each find such ways to share our gifts, to care for one another, and find care for ourselves. So be it.